qualifying heat from Daytona. It's Pichon, number 7. Larry Ward is also battling with Ezra Lusk, number 3. Number 3 and 4, right behind the leader. It's Albertine, number 7, my correction. Inside, Larry Ward, coming off his Tampa win, takes the lead away from his teammate. They're battling it out. 2 Team Suzuki's in front with Ezra Lusk right behind him.
That was just brilliant by Larry Ward. He just created a line, went right around the outside of Lusk, made the pass, and then he jumped a different timing down the next straightaway, taking the lead. But
oh, back and forth we go, Albertine. Maybe a little hyped since Larry Ward took the first Team Suzuki win last week.
I think so. That whole team's got to be buzzing. They got more horsepower last week. Marty kept bringing that up. They weren't really able to show that, rather. And here today on this fast track, you're going to see it. Already saw it on the start.
How important is qualifying, David, here at Daytona?
Very important because of the start. If you get 5 or 6 gates to either end, you've got no shot at a good start.
As we watch Albertine and Larry Ward battling it out, Marty Reed.
Well, guys, you'd mentioned the fact that Suzuki has had a real great week. They had a lot of congratulatory notes from Japan, and they had a great week of testing. They said, yeah, this new power plant is for real, and here we go again. I mean, they're showing it very early, running 1-2.
Right behind, there you see second place, Albertine. Ezra Lusk coming up on him, and Mikel Pichon, another Team Suzuki, right behind Ezra Lusk. Not quite in the picture yet.
Larry Ward just pulling away from these guys. And Art, I watched him in practice. He pulled out. Everyone jumped onto the track. Ryan Hughes was the first one to get out there, and Ward was about 8th back. Now, practice isn't a race, but next thing I know, 3/4 of a lap later, Ward's in the lead, passed everybody, just wanted to get out there and attack this racetrack. So he's still got the adrenaline from Tampa.
So Larry Ward, you know, when you look back on the season, David, you got Tortelli, the surprise for everybody in the opener. Ezra Lusk then bringing Honda back into the winning picture. McGrath dominating 4 straight wins, and then truly a storybook victory for Larry Ward.
And it was really neat to see, and you know, I think what he wants to do today is demonstrate that nope, I was going to win anyway. The heck with that rain. That's not why I won. I won because I was motivated and everything was clicking.
Side by side, Ezra Lusk to the inside, and number 7, Greg Albertine. And Albertine takes it right back again. Oh, great qualifying action between these two. Team Suzuki versus Team Honda.
Both those guys getting over the triple that time. Entering that far in. Carmichael, the first guy to do it after practice. They went out and worked that jump a little bit. The guy's able to get over it now. And I'm pretty impressed with Greg right here. Lusk has been fast, pretty intimidating, and he's holding him off. But also having a good run last week. Keep talking about how well Larry Ward rode, and Albertine was right there. In fact, he came from dead last to the first turn crash all the way up to 5th.
Oh, Albertine goes over the bars. Here comes Pichon, number 16, passing Ezra Lusk.
That is a slippery corner. Lusk getting in there, trying to make a pass, getting sideways. They just clipped. That was a freaky way to go down by just touching like that. But I've seen Albertine do worse.
Out in front, Larry Ward, number 4. Pichon, his Team Suzuki teammate, is in second place with Lusk in third, and now Craig in 4th. Let's take another look as we watch Larry Ward. There's number 7, Greg Albertine. Whoa.
That's hard to tell. That jump, just as they're approaching that jump, come out of the corner. Mitch Payton had a good view of that.
Mitch Payton down there, didn't you?
Yeah, it looked to me like Lusk's bike slid out and clipped perhaps the frame or the foot peg or the rear tire of Albertine's bike, just caused him to stop dead.
So Kevin Pride, number 63, moves into the top 5 order. We'll be right back after taking a look at the Suzuki leaderboard. Welcome back to our first qualifying action of the Daytona Supercross. Way out in front is Larry Ward of Team Suzuki, and behind him, Mikel Pichon, the young Frenchman who lives near Le Mans. Pichon on Team Suzuki, showing his speed this year, but having trouble staying on 2 wheels. Trying to hold on a second as Ezra Lusk is right behind him, number 3 of Team Yamaha. Craig is in 4th, and Albertine now has moved back into the transfer picture, coming up to 5th already.
Well, picking up one more spot will make a big difference to the gate position for the main event. As I was about to say, the reason if you move out to the sides, oh, Pichon only going for the double on that because of some lap riders, and Lusk was tripling it. got into him, so the second time he tangles with the Suzuki guys, they're going to need to stay apart. I think he's just going to ride this thing home and try to get to the main. That's 2 close calls for Lusk. But the starting gate here is a lot wider. Starting 30 riders for the main event. Not a lot of room down there in that first corner, so if you get out to either end, it's a big disadvantage. Gate position here is crucial.
Number 16, Mikel Pichon, is 5 seconds in back of Larry Ward.
Now Suzuki's got it dialed in because Ward first had company from his teammate Albertine. Now he's got another teammate back there behind him.
Pichon now 3 seconds in front of Ezra Lusk. Lusk in third with Craig in fourth.
I don't know how ambitious Lusk is right now. I think he's just going to call this a heat 1, get back to the semi. Stay away from these guys.
Team Suzuki sure doing themselves proud here in our opening qualifying heat at the Daytona Supercross.
Pichon working through the whoop-de-doos there. A single jump into a double jump and into a triple jump. Something new. These guys have been blowing that timing all along.
The former 2-time 125 Eastern Championship. And Pichon has had some good luck and bad luck here at Daytona.
Here's another replay. Pichon going for the double. Watch Lusk in the air. Last minute adjustment.
Whoa.
They just touched. Boy, that could have been a lot worse.
Got the elbow out for balance and kept right on moving. Here's our leader, Larry Ward.
Working his way into the first turn. You see it's getting rough coming into that corner now. So a lot like an outdoor. They come down a 4th gear straightaway there, getting some braking bumps, and that's going to get trickier during the starts.
Ward pacing himself right now, going from a better time to a 126.1 on the last lap, David.
Right. Well, you don't need to push yourself the entire heat race. What he's doing is trying to establish a good lead, get that secured, learn as much as you can about the racetrack, put in a few fast laps so you can compare yourself to the winners of the other heats, but then save some energy because the main event's going to be long.
Well, football this year had its Elway getting his first Super Bowl ring. Earnhardt finally winning Daytona in auto racing, and Larry Ward picking up his 2nd Supercross win. A great veteran and a storybook type story on Larry Ward last week. We'll be right back to see Larry Ward take the checkers probably when we return. Back to Daytona as the first qualifying heat continues. There you see the Suzuki leaderboard. Larry Ward, Mikel Pichon, Ezra Lusk in third, with Greg Albertine now moving up to 4th.
I think what we might see happen here is when Lusk got together, both with Albertine and then Pichon off that triple, he may have done something to either the shifter or the brake lever. And,
shift lever, I believe. He was trying to adjust it.
Yeah, he's just cruising around. So Albertine's coming on strong. He may be able to work his way past Lusk before the end of this race.
So hopefully Ezra Lusk will have that clutch lever fixed by the time they come around again, as Larry Ward's on the white flag lap. One final lap now for Larry Ward here in the opening qualifying round.
And that was just a straightaway there after the finish line jump, just a straightaway full of grass. You see how rough it's gotten. It's going to get worse and worse as the day goes on. The berms here get high. They got a big outside sand-packed berm, Pichon. Then you can get those little inside ruts. He blew that a little bit, so he wasn't able to carry enough speed around that corner.
Pichon safely in 2nd place right now. He doesn't want to go down.
Getting into that front straightaway, the single, the double, then the triple. That triple about 68 feet. It's pretty far.
Pichon's looking for a highlight this year. So far, his biggest highlight really winning a qualifying heat in 3 semis. His best race this season was 4th in the opener in Los Angeles. Number 16, Mikel Pichon. Ezra Lusk in 3rd place. Last week showing why McGrath feels Ezra is the only rider fast enough to really concern him consistently. He almost caught Ward in the waning moments of that race in Tampa.
That's something I think is really going to be in his favor today. He's so fast and he wants to win so bad, and since this is a Honda sponsored race, he's going to want to put that bike in winner's circle, and it's going to be a long race. He's in great shape, so Lusk is a guy to look for at the end of the main event.
Here comes Ward, the checkers for Larry Ward. He's getting used to seeing that. Pichon right behind him in 2nd place. Lusk probably taking 3rd, with Albertine in 4th and Craig in 5th. We'll be right back as Marty Reed makes his way over to where our winner Larry Ward is. Our first qualifiers for the main event here at the Daytona Supercross: Larry Ward, Mikel Pichon, Ezra Lusk, Greg Albertine, rounding out the Team Suzuki triad, and Michael Craig of Honda of Troy in the top 5. Let's go down to Marty.
Yeah, we're down here with a very happy Larry Ward, picking right up where he left off, but he's a little bit drier than last time we saw him. Nice ride.
Yeah, thank you. Suzuki's worked hard. They got me a good bike, got a good start, and had a little fun with my teammate Greg Albertine, and then decided I better get busy.
Well, you guys, I mean, Pichon finishes second. Albie came back to finish fourth even after going down. Obviously, now we know this new motor is definitely working for you guys.
Yeah, it definitely is. Greg got the whole shot. I was right behind him in second, and you know, we're happy. We just wanted a little bit more, and they gave us quite a bit more, so we're real happy. Hopefully we can get all 3 of them Suzukis on the podium tonight. Greg and Mikel have both been close, so hopefully they'll get up there today.
Look out, guys. I think he's shooting for 2 in a row.
Congratulations to Larry Ward winning the first heat. It's interesting here with the way the heats go to 3 heats at Daytona. The 5 we expected to qualify did, David Bailey.
Yeah, absolutely. You sort of dilute the field a little bit, but you still never know. I mean, what happened, or what could have happened really, between Lusk and Pichon there, and Lusk and Albertine could have sent one of those guys to the semi. And in this race was about, I'm looking at 6 potential guys that should qualify, and one of those is not going to get to go, so this could get really interesting.
The only riders still to finish in all single digits besides Jeremy McGrath, and McGrath, of course, doing such a great job leading the points, is Kevin Windham. You see his back there. Marty Reed.
You know, you mentioned Kevin. This is the loosest I've ever seen this guy. I mean, he's got a nice sense of humor, but he was really cutting up today, real relaxed, had a great week of practice, and he does not normally like sand-based tracks, and he says, you know what, I'm sort of enjoying it. So watch out for bike number 8.
32nd board is appearing to the riders now as they get tense, start to go through their routines. Another great Supercross crowd in our Supercross series here at Daytona. Kevin Windham along with Mike LaRocco in our picture. Factory Connection Honda. He practiced with all the Honda guys. They all took off and had intensive testing on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday between Tampa and Daytona. Also, Damon Huffman and Ryan Hughes in the Team Kawasaki group. Michael Brown of Honda of Troy. Steve Lampson, Team Honda. John Sebastian Waugh and Lance Smale, some of the big names we expect to be out in front, but as David said, anything can happen as they head for the whole shot territory. There is Windham.
You know what Windham did there, Art, that was fantastic and very smart. He sat up a lot straighter during the start. We watched him take off. He got better traction. Everyone's been spinning in that grass, and it worked for him.
Caton is in third behind Mike LaRocco. LaRocco, an unusual great start. He, of course, was hoping for one because he says, I like this track, and I've got to put things together here today.
Well, LaRocco lately has been getting better starts. Windham over the triple, LaRocco going for it, Huffman doubling. It's hard to triple that when you get back into traffic. Gets busy back there. You don't know what the guys next to you are going to do, so it's better to play it safe.
He's having a hard time of it, but he's in third place right there behind LaRocco. Damon Huffman, he's been kind of a mystery, too, on that Team Kawasaki team.
Yeah, I think they're all scratching their heads over there because they got 3 guys that can win. I know they do. I know they feel that, and I believe it as well, but they've yet to do it. So
his teammate Ryan Hughes trying to make a move now on the independent rider, Waugh.
The track here in Daytona changes drastically. Every couple of laps, you got to pretty much adjust your line, and Huffman getting into a couple of those berms, a little bit more speed, high side, because it's changed so much. Now that he's got a lap in the book, next lap will be a lot better.
So it's Rhino. Ryan Hughes, number 10, trying to catch up with Waugh. And there he goes. Ryan Hughes into the corner.
Great shot of the speed.
Here comes Waugh. Oh, that's a good battle, David.
Yeah, and Ryan will win that. He's a little meaner. He'll get in there and fight. He might go down, but he's going to give it everything.
Ryan Hughes starting out the season trying to work his way through a myriad of injuries, a back injury especially, really put him behind the 8 ball.
Well, you don't like to come into the season that way, and it really messed him up because prior to the season, a couple of weeks, he was looking good. Then he came up short on one of those triples right there. Imagine landing on your feet on the 3rd one. That's what he did, and it just really got him started off on the wrong foot.
Along with mistakes leading to only 3 semifinal wins and a best of a 5th place finish in Houston. Our leader, is Kevin Windham. He's been outstanding in his rookie 250 season. 3 podiums in the last 4 races. Brown has now moved into 5th, so it is Windham, LaRocco, Huffman, Ryan Hughes, and Michael Brown. We'll be right back to see if that order holds true when we return to the Daytona International Speedway. Welcome back to our second qualifying heat here at the Daytona Supercross. Kevin Windham, Mike LaRocco, and Huffman are top 3 as we took a look at the Suzuki leaderboard. Ryan Hughes and Brown rounding out the top 5. Art Eckman, David Bailey, and Marty Reed from Daytona bringing you the action. Well, it's good to see Windham, and Marty Reed said it. The guy is loose as a goose right now. He's feeling very confident about his first year in 250s. Of course, he got his first win out of the way as a part-time 250 rider, focusing on the 125 title that he was going after last year. But he picked off that first Supercross crown in Charlotte last year. Would like to add another one before this season's over with.
And I think he's going to. I think he's ridden smart so far. He's been fairly conservative. In fact, in the last 2 races in Atlanta, I believe he thought he had a shot at winning. He won a very exciting heat race. It was a faster heat race than McGrath's, and he came into the main event and got the whole shot, and then he had Button all over him. I think Button surprised him a little bit. Then in Atlanta, or Tampa, rather, last weekend, Larry Ward was on fire, and he had a chance to get up there and win that one. So I think what he's got to do now is take this heat win into the main, take it with a little bit more intensity, and he should be able to win.
Here's the most consistent rider on the series tour besides McGrath, and that's Kevin Windham. 4 podiums. He's led a lap or 2. He's won his last 2 heats in a row, and it looks like he's on his way to his 3rd consecutive heat win. Halfway mark right now in our second qualifying heat.
And look how much they're standing. They don't get to sit down very much here. They'll finally get to sit down this far in through this corner, and he'll stand right back up all the way to the other end.
Mike LaRocco, number 5, looking strong here in the qualifying heat in the factory connection. And the Team Honda rider Lamson, Steve Lamson, got stuck in the gate, a bad start. He's now made his way up to 7th place.
LaRocco actually starting to close now on Windham. There you get a split. Windham over the triple. LaRocco approaching it. Look at the ruts in the face of that triple.
LaRocco's so fast on this track, Marty Reed.
Well, the reason LaRocco picked up some ground was the last lap. That triple that you just talked about, there was an injured rider down. He's off the course now, and he's back on his bike. But Windham played by the rules. You're supposed to single those jumps. All of a sudden, LaRocco came flying over all 3 of them. Oh, we got another rider down that very same spot. But Windham played by the book. LaRocco closed. Now Windham is back on the horsepower, and he's starting to pull out the lead again.
Oh, and it was bar to bar with Rhino and Huffman. Hughes moving into 2nd place. 3rd place behind LaRocco, my correction. So number 10, Ryan Hughes, now has moved in front of Huffman, their teammates. Good clean pass.
Rhino's charging. Huffman, you see him tiptoeing around the inside right there. It just seems like he just can't get his lines to come together. Through there, all the way on the left, hitting some of the bigger bumps through that section. The heat race doesn't mean everything. I'm sure he'll be able to come out in the main and do things a little bit differently.
Lamson now moving up to 5th. Can he give Michael Brown a challenge for the final qualifying spot? Michael Brown, and he will be going at it as we've got Windham, LaRocco, Hughes, Huffman, and Brown still our top 5. Lamson in 6th.
Riders working their way towards the triple where Marty had pointed out there was a rider down. Well, there's going to be a rider down. The last part, you see the red cross flag. What happened there was a rider had gone down. He was actually in the process of crashing. And I think it was Mike Brown, who was already in the air, committed, landed on it, and kept on going. The guy is, he hasn't moved. It's a very scary scene. I hope that guy's okay. There's no way to avoid it. Brown had nothing to do.
Windham, LaRocco, Hughes, Huffman, and Brown right now ticketed to go to the main event. We'll see if it holds this way when we return for the 5th. But in 3 of the last 4 races has taken a 3rd place podium finish. Number 8, Windham.
He seems poised, ready to win. He's had a couple of tastes at riding up front the last few weeks. That whole shot in Atlanta and thought he was going to get up to challenge Ward last week, but this week I think he's ready to go.
Here he's approaching now the triple, where he'll have to take each one individually, as Mike May is the rider who is down on the track right now. And the medical crew's still working to get Mike May off the track.
Yeah, I've seen some close calls like that where a rider goes down, somebody's in the air committed, and they just barely miss each other. Well, actually, we saw that in the first heat between Lusk, but imagine if Pichon had gone down and Lusk landed on him. That's what happened there with May. So I hope he gets back up.
Ali Seymour, look ahead, he says on his pit board to his rider Kevin Windham. Windham likes to take the grass on the inside sometimes. Gets pretty slick over there.
Yeah, it is more slippery, but what he's able to do there is miss those braking bumps coming into that corner. He kind of threads the needle between the rough spot and those hay bales.
White flag lap coming up pretty soon as we take a look at number 100, Mike Brown. He ran the GP circuit last year, came back to return to Honda of Troy. This is the final lap now, the white flag lap in our second qualifying heat.
Lamson starting to close the gap on Brown. As you take a look at Windham, that far in, gets to sit down through there. That's smooth for now. Work his way into this double. See how he uses his body right there to try to stick that bike on the downside, and he actually stayed out of that rut there, coming through that right-hand corner, squared it. Sometimes in the main event, track gets so rough in spots, what they like to do is pull the inside corner marker back about 3 or 4 feet and give them a brand new line during that parade lap, so they get more room for all those riders. 30 riders on the gate for the main.
Boy, that last shot of Mike LaRocco, he was looking real smooth. There you see him, number 5 behind number 8, trying to close the gap before they hit that finish line jump.
Working his way to the opposite end. You see Windham just coming out of the corner dealing with the lapped rider. Rocco got pretty close, got over there nice. You see, he's still pushing all the way to the end. That's why Ali was telling Kevin, look ahead, because he's got LaRocco back there coming strong.
Kevin Windham, Mike LaRocco. Boy, wouldn't that be something?
You see they go right from that black sand into the white lime rock.
Here's Lamson. That's LaRocco number 5, but Lamson has just now moved into 5th. So he was able to catch Mike Brown, David Bailey. The checkers for Kevin Windham. So Kevin Windham putting back-to-back, well, 3 straight heat wins now. Looking forward to the main event along with 4 other riders out of our second qualifying heat. You know, you want to see in person the stretch run for the championship. We go next to the Superdome in New Orleans. Move over Mardi Gras. Here comes Supercross. And then it's up north to Minneapolis, Minnesota, over to St. Louis, Pontiac, and then to Charlotte Motor Speedway on April 25th, Texas Stadium. And the finale then in Las Vegas. Also, an added feature, of course, there in Las Vegas is the 125 shootout, where the eastern regions get together with the western divisions, and a fine purse to battle for there. Heat number 3 is coming up next. Welcome back to Daytona as we take a look at the 5 qualifiers out of our second qualifying heat. Windham, LaRocco, Hughes, Huffman, and Lamson barely edged Michael Brown at the finish line jump to secure the final transfer spot in our second qualifying heat. Let's get out to Marty Reed.
I think we're going to have to give Kevin a commission here for making me look so good. I sort of told everybody how loose you were, and boy, you definitely just powered away, got the whole shot. Nice ride.
Yeah, it was great. Bike pulled me to a great start. YZ's working wonderful for me, and you know, I had a little trouble with the Red Cross flag and you know, the lappers and stuff, but you know, I just tried to get out there and get a flow and try to find some good lines, because if you don't have the right ones here, you're gonna get beat up.
Well, the thing that we pointed it out also, you singled them, and then the group that came behind you, all of a sudden they didn't see it, and they tripled them, and all of a sudden your lead was down another, but you pulled it back out again. Yeah,
I saw that one lap, and I was like, man, he got awfully close, and that was the only way that I didn't really make too many mistakes that lap. So I thought, well, man, that's the only way that he could have gained on me. And you know, my mechanic just told me that they pulled the flag in after I went over, and luckily I was able to you know, keep my momentum going and pull the lead back out.
You confident enough to predict victory? I mean, you've had 3/3 out of the last 4 races.
Keep it consistent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'm always shooting for the win. I just, you know, I'm feeling so good right now. My bike's working wonders, and you know, I just need to keep it consistent, and that's why I'm where I'm at in the point series right now. And but I'm definitely shooting for some wins. I'm about due, I hope.
Getting ready for heat number 3, Jeff Emig at the starting gate now. And Jeff Emig on a very difficult season after winning the championship last year. Here at Daytona, last season he led every lap. Henry challenged him early, but Emig just took over for a dominating win.
Daytona in '97 was one of my greatest races ever. Really, because it's Daytona for one, because you get your name on the plaque inside of the museum for the other, and just for the fact that I led every lap while I was there. I was a little bit tight in practice. I didn't ride all week from the Gainesville National to the Daytona race. I didn't ride. I took some time off the bike. So in the beginning I was a little tight, but man, I felt that I had really good speed, and my starts, my reflexes, everything was on. And I mean, when I won that race, that was like that was one of those races, like right afterwards, I could really enjoy it. I mean, I remember McGrath and Albertine spraying champagne on me like it was yesterday. I mean, I just remember wiping my face. I mean, I can feel all of the emotions. I can bring those up and just feel it, like all over again.
Also challenging here in the third qualifying try is Jeremy McGrath, number 2 from Menifee, California, on the Chaparral Yamaha, and his Chaparral teammate, number 11, right there, Jimmy Button. Taking a look at the Suzuki track map, David.
Well, of all the Supercross tracks, this one really stands out. All the way back to 1972, the setting, the history here, the grass, the longer lap, the lap times today, almost 120. And there's 4 triple jumps, 1 fourth gear straightaway, and that sand in between all the obstacles is going to get a lot rougher as each lap goes through the books.
The guy who knows how every bike has been set up, I think, down here today is Marty Reed. Marty.
Hey, the big news, take a look at Jeff Emig. 30 board just came out. They have gone with a full motocross setup. Now that is totally different than everybody else. Everybody else has been running a compromise. About 55% Supercross, 45% for motocross. And David, you can explain the difference better than I can, but this is going to be one interesting race to watch.
Well, the difference, because you don't have that perfectly manicured, nice packed clay where you're just second and third gear all the time. Here, the track changes a lot with each lap. Some of the corners got 4 lines through them. It resembles an outdoor national-style racetrack, so these guys set it up the same way.
Okay, the 5-second board has been tilted now, and we're set for the gate to drop for our third qualifying heat from Daytona. Good start for Jeremy McGrath, but look at Jeff Emig just power by going into the first turn now. Emig is our leader, with Jimmy Button and McGrath right behind him.
Now, Emig had a beautiful angle going into that first corner. The guys really funneled down, and he had a good view and just didn't let off, but he's got a lot of company right now.
Very important for Jeff Emig to put it together.
Well, this would be a big statement if he could hold Jeremy off here for either a long time or either all the way to the checkered flag, because he needs to get something started. Getting it started here at Daytona would be a big shot in the arm for Kawasaki and a boost for Jeff.
Here in the early going, it's Emig, McGrath. Lawrence has moved into third against Jimmy Button, number 24. On the Ducati Kawasaki is Lawrence. Jimmy Button now trying to get back up to where he was a couple of races ago.
You see all that lime rock flying. That's like gravel. When it hits you, it hurts. Working their way into the triple. Button just decided to do the double. The face that's getting very rutted. And these triples right here in the first practice session that I was watching, I never saw Emig do either one. In the second practice, he came out and started doing them, but it was really surprising me that he wasn't going for those.
Phil Lawrence in third, Jimmy Button in fourth. That's where our real battle right now in the qualifying heat exists. After a grand heat race last week, a 4th place finish in Tampa, a crash on the 4th lap in the main event really did Phil Lawrence in. He went all the way to last place. But injuries and crashes have taken a toll on him, and it's interesting because he's picking up space now on Jeremy McGrath. McGrath right in front of Lawrence, Button banging the back tire of Lawrence. How long can he hold on as Henry now has moved behind them into 5th place?
Well, this is really good news. Oh, see Phil Lawrence right there. He jumped that finish line plateau, couldn't make the corner. I was just about to say that this great battle for second was allowing Emig to start to pull away.
Here comes John Dowd, number 9, Team Yamaha, catching up with Phil Lawrence. But Emig is still our leader with McGrath in 2nd place.
So Button right back where he started off, right behind Jeremy. These guys will work their way together up there and hopefully challenge Emig. Right now, Emig's controlling this race. These guys haven't closed the gap at all.
So our third qualifying heat from Daytona's Supercross continues in a moment. Ardek Sportsman David Bailey, Marty Reed from Daytona Supercross. Third qualifying heat action. It's Emig out in front with McGrath in second, Button in third, Henry in fourth, and Phil Lawrence on the bubble in fifth. The top 5 qualifiers getting the transfer to the main event out of our qualifying heats.
Emig, that last lap just turned a 123 flat. So that's why he's opening up this lead. That's not the fastest that we've seen, but that's very fast, within a half a second. And the track's a little bit rougher than it was earlier. As I pointed out already several times, this track is going to get rougher every 3 or 4 laps or so. It totally changes.
Well, we hear in the background that 4-stroke sound of Henry, number 19, trying to pick up on Jimmy Button. Of course, Button's bubble burst last week in Tampa after 4 outstanding races. He had to go to the LCQ to make the main and then crashed twice, ending up at 18th as we go back to our leader, Jeff Emig. Oh, how important is this race here at Daytona for Emig?
This is a win that he really needs, and looks to me like McGrath is just inching up a little bit. Going back to Henry, you see him just coming into the shot, going for the triple there. I saw him out there last night walking the track. He walked the track, I think he walked it like 4 times. I go, what are you doing? He goes, one more lap.
Yeah. Always concentrating, always working, always focusing on race day.
Now, first he was walking in the dark, and then turned on the lights, and he did a few more laps.
Might get a better feel that way, don't you think?
Yeah, it's hard to memorize the course. It's harder than usual because it's a lot longer.
Look at the battle now. Teammates, McGrath and Button. Button has really turned it on. In third place behind Jeremy McGrath, making sure not to bounce each other right there.
And this is good for Emig as he approaches the halfway mark. That last lap, he just put in a 122, so he's picked up the pace.
McGrath going off the track and Button taking over second place is Randy Lawrence with that concerned look. I was wondering why he had the furrow in the brow right there. But Henry now is picking up on McGrath.
Button was pushing Jeremy, and Jeremy overjumped that finish line jump, and right as soon as you land, you got to make a left. And it's really catching a lot of these guys by surprise. If you don't do it just right, catch that downside on the brakes, you go off the track. Jeremy did a nice job to not go too far out of his way and lose another position.
Here comes McGrath, though, trying to pick off that second place. In back of Emig, number 1. Jeff Emig, the winner here last year, went on to the championship. Jimmy Button, who before last week was the success of the season behind his teammate McGrath, going from 19th to 3rd in the point standings, 4 points out of second place before Tampa.
Well, I can tell you out front, Emig just disappearing down to the mechanics area in front of this battle for second is probably got a little concern. Oh, Button tearing up all the hay bales. He got a little offline right there, looking for a smooth line.
And Button goes down. Jeremy McGrath passes him easy.
He
gets Henry also by.
Yeah, he messed up his concentration. He went wide in that corner, hit another hay bale. So there goes his heat race. Down the tubes in a matter of a half a straightaway.
Dowd moving into that final spot. Emig, McGrath, Henry, Lawrence, and Dowd.
Now here's Button. He'd already gone wide into the corner. He drips out over the berm, hits the hay bales, goes down right in front of his teammate. And I was about to say before all that happened, Emig right here, now he's got a little bit better lead on McGrath. Actually, it's about the same. McGrath hasn't closed in, but he's still right there. And he's got to have a big smile under this helmet saying, yeah, this is more like it. Get that whole shot and stay there.
You see our Suzuki leaderboard. Emig is our leader. And here's something to consider before we leave you. Our Yamaha trivia question. Which legendary 2-time Supercross champion tried 11 times to win this coveted race? Got 4 runner-up spots, but never won it. The answer when we come back. And I don't know if you could hear it over there, David Bailey, but Davey Combs answered the question right next to me. I don't know if the fans heard it or not. Who was it, Davey?
Ward.
That's right. Jeff Ward. Henry all over McGrath. Whoa, but he liked to take that position. He gets mixed up in the lappers, though, and Jeremy gets the outside trend. Jeremy McGrath holding on to second place against Doug Henry. Henry not letting him off the hook, though.
While all this is happening, they're closing the gap a little bit on Jeff Emig now. And Emig, that last lap, I had my eye on him, and he did a few wobbles, got it behind in some lap traffic, got held up a little bit, too. See if he can open it back up now with a clear track.
Button still in 6th place. As we take a look at the Henry-McGrath battle, it looks like the four-stroke is calibrated just right for this track.
Well, you can see this track is kind of narrow in some spots just because of the configuration, what they have to dodge, but these guys are using totally different lines.
Marty, your observation.
What's really interesting, I asked Pete Steinberg, I said, hey, is this wide open, straightaway going to help this four-stroke? He says, I really don't think so. He says, I think we're at a disadvantage on this track, but boy, the way Doug's riding it, it's anything but. He's right on McGrath's back, and they are both closing on Jeff Emig.
Accurate observation as we take a look at Emig, McGrath, and Henry. Hold on to your hats. We might have a new leader. Henry tries for McGrath on the outside. Does he have enough room? Henry moves into second place. The white flag is getting ready to fly, and we're going to have an exciting finish to our third qualifying heat. Emig, Henry, McGrath. The question now, can Emig hold off the four-stroke? The white flag is in the air. Our final lap.
Well, now we're going to find out just what Emig's made of.
He likes to use the track. Can he hold off Henry, though, who has shown a tremendous torque and power? Button has moved into fifth.
This is an interesting matchup right here.
Oh, he made the mistake. Henry to the inside.
I was about to say, both these guys, Emig and Doug Henry, I think if you go around the pits and ask the riders who is the toughest to pass, both those names come up.
And the fans are on their feet stamping on the aluminum seats. Doug Henry, big favorite here in Daytona.
Now, he's been through so much. He's just won the hearts of everybody. Plus, riding that four-stroke, you never have a problem spotting him. And making that pass in the last lap with the two best riders in motocross history in the last few years, McGrath and Emig, number 1 and 2.
Henry, well, Yamaha has been working hard to bring this new four-stroke, and there's Henry. And Emig. Henry! Oh, my goodness. Making the move. Jeff Emig trying to come back. I don't know if he can hold with him, though, David.
They got a different timing right here. Emig with an outside line to try to square and get a run.
Here's the race to the checkered flag. Henry, the comeback victory here in our third qualifying heat with Emig and Jeremy McGrath. We'll take a look at the official top 5 that move on to the main right after these words. Let's take a look at that move once again as Doug Henry pursuing Jeff Emig here in the third qualifying round at Daytona. A little fishtail by Emig to the inside Henry, and he bursts and heads for the finish line. We were talking about a much needed win for Jeff Emig. Well, I think we have to say the same thing, David Bailey, as far as Doug Henry is concerned. These are the 5 riders that move on to the main event before going to the semifinal rounds. Doug Henry, Jeff Emig, Jeremy McGrath, Jimmy Button, and Phil Lawrence. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
And Doug Henry making it to victory lane here. And well, I'll tell you what, that was one thriller for us. How was it for you?
It was a thriller for me, too. I think this is the first heat race that I ever won after coming back from my broken back in '96, I believe. So this track's always been good to me, and you know, hopefully I have some good luck in the main and run away with it.
Yeah, but Pete told me before the race, I said, do you think the four-stroke's going to have an advantage? He says, no, I don't think so. He says, I think I'm at a disadvantage. But, man, you guys rode well.
Yeah, you know, the bike works really good. You know, John R. has been working a lot with the suspension, and, you know, we really feel that we got a good bike to go racing and win the main event.
Now, one pointer. Next time you win the heat race, you got to wipe your mouth before you kiss Stacy.
Okay.
She came back awfully dirty there.
Yeah, she don't mind.
No, I think she'd take that kiss all the time, guys.
Doug Henry, always with a smile on his face as we get set now for our first semifinal round. Keith Johnson, Ryan Terlicki, Lance Smale trying to make the main event out of this one. Kevin Crime, some popular names there as they try to qualify for the main event. Marty making his way back to the pits. Let's check in with him about the Jeff Emig situation. Marty.
Guys, an update on Jeff Emig. We were wondering if maybe he had some arm pump at the end of the race, why he fell back to second place. It wasn't that at all. He missed the jump. We all know that. But he's also got a very stiff neck. He woke up with it this morning, and it's been getting progressively worse. They've got a chiropractor in the transporter right now trying to loosen him up for the main.
Thanks, Marty. David, a stiff neck doesn't sound like the utterance of confidence coming from the Emig camp.
Well, I'm not saying that it doesn't have a stiff neck, but it seems a little odd that his neck would be fine for the first 6 laps of that heat race, because he sure looked good. I think he just got a little tight towards the end and had felt the pressure. He hasn't been in that situation this year and that late into a race, and I think he's got to be pretty happy with the way he rode. Even though he didn't win, he's right in there.
Oh, look at the great crowd here at Daytona International Speedway. One of the most popular, if not the most popular event during Bike Week.
John Sebastian Waugh just to the inside of the starting gate. Kevin Krein to his right. This start narrows down. If you don't get a good jump, you get beat out over the gate. You just got to wait through that first turn.
Ryan Terlicki's had some good rides this year. The gentleman out of Salem, Oregon, on a Suzuki.
And you see the sand tire.
They like to throw that sand out as quick as they go over it, and we're off. Taking a look now at number 83, getting the whole shot. Oh, that's 63 on the way. That's Kevin Krein. Kevin Krein, much of what we expected, and Botter is in second, number 102. He's getting the challenge right now. Keith Johnson, number 86. You see 86 on the left of your screen. Out in front, Kevin Krein.
You see they've worked the track quite a bit. Krein going through the hay bales.
That's Lance Smale.
Smale, I mean, I got these guys mixed up with the numbers we had last year. Not going anywhere. That's the difference between a tough box and a hay bale. Tough box would just wrap up in the bike and you go on your way. The hay bales break.
So our first semifinal round is underway. We'll be right back in just a moment. Welcome back to our first qualifying round, as Kevin Krein is our leader. Here's where the action is for third, fourth, and fifth. Binkley and Botter going at it. Botter getting a challenge from behind.
Those kicker jumps coming down the straightaway really causing these guys some trouble. You see them trying to wheelie just before them, so they don't hit their front wheel on it. Then if you don't hit it straight, the back end kicks out to the side, all while you're trying to stop for that first turn.
Terlicki, who failed to qualify, going fifth in the last chance qualifier, is starting to make a move now, number 61. After passing Corey Botter, Terlicki out of Salem, Oregon, on a Suzuki. Tom Welch now in fifth.
Here's where you can really see the difference and appreciate the raw talent and the experience of the guys that qualify straight to the main. Through these whoops right here, just trying to get it straight, all that roost flying, trying to pick a line. You got 4 guys going through there, all in a different line. And most of these guys going over the double, not all of them jumping the triple. Not quite as aggressive. Over the finish line jump, they're not jumping the whole thing there either. So what happens after these 2 semis is the track works in a little bit slower line. So you come back out for the main event, and the best guys have to adjust to that.
A longer course, longer lap times, but how is it having more riders for a main event in Daytona, more so than the usual series events?
Well, for one thing, it beats up the track a little bit quicker. That's why it gets rougher, not just the sand. More riders out there tearing it up. Also, if you don't get a good start, it's very busy. You know, if you get a bad start in a regular Supercross with 20 riders, you got to work your way up a little ways. Here, you got to work your way up from. It seems like you're at the back of a parade.
White flag lap for Kevin Krein.
Coming into the switchbacks right here. This is where Doug Henry made his pass on Emig. That exciting finish. There was a deep rut right there. They've smoothed that out since. Through the whoops. Great shot from the back. You get to see the riders gripping the side of the bike with their knees, trying to hold it straight, letting the bike work up and down underneath them.
Really controlling the bike more with your legs than your arms.
It's like riding a bicycle with no hands. You use your legs a lot, use your hips. Hands are barely gripping the handlebars. Some of the best guys, they don't even get blisters because they don't hold on very tight. You're constantly moving your hands around the grips. Most of the guys also use the clutch, and they keep that finger out there the entire time. And you try to tell an amateur to take their hand off that grip, put it out there in the clutch, and they look at you with this funny look like, you mean I got to let go of this grip?
On our final lap, Crine, Johnson, and Binkley. And there's Kevin Crine out of Maryland.
Coming
After
into
Binkley, Terlicki, Welch, and Botter in that order.
Yeah, that corner I was talking about, that's so hard. He's drifting out into that berm at the end, but that berm, you really can't get out there and hit it too aggressive, or you'll push right through it off into the grass.
So the checkers for Kevin Crine, and a nice confidence builder for him. And the battle for third is underway. Binkley and Terlicki. Terlicki takes the honors, number 61. So 6 more riders getting the transfer to the main event. We'll be right back after this. So Kevin Crine, number 63, winning the first semifinal round. As I said, a good confidence builder for him because he's gotten into the main the last 2 times, being 5th in the semifinal round. Marty Reed.
Yeah, and actually we got to make a little history note here. This is your first semifinal win ever in the history that you've been in running Supercross. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Just like I came out and did what I had to do and got the whole shot. That's the #1 game out here today. It's so rough, and came out and did what I had to do, and that's it.
Well, you know, Art made mention of the fact you've made a couple of last mains and things seem to be coming your way.
Yeah, I've only been riding for a month now. I just got this bike a little over 3 weeks ago, and I went out and did the last 3 Supercrosses. I've qualified for them. Now this is my 4th one in a row, so I'm on a good streak and getting in shape, and that's the name of the game, I guess.
We'll see you in the main.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks a lot, Marty. As we get set for our second semifinal round, we're looking right there at John Dowd, a 125 West rider who leads the 125 West by 1 point over David Villemin of France. Here's another one in the semifinal round that look for action up front. Along with Dowd will be Michael Brown, number 100. Anthony Amaradio, Jason Frenette, Jean-Sebastian Waugh. Look for number 80 to get up near the front. Heath Voss.
John Dowd, a great sand rider. As this track gets more and more chewed up, starts to look a little bit more like Southwick, Art. I expect him to go really fast. Plus, he's one of the riders that's better conditioned, and this takes more out of you physically. But today it's a little more cool out there, the conditions, than we've seen in the past. When it's hot, mixed with this rough track, that really takes it out of you.
Dowd, of course, last year riding in the 125 East and took the win right here at Daytona. Let's check out the start of John Dowd. Clearly the man out in front with Brown, number 100, trying to challenge.
You can see back there at the back some riders getting tangled and going off the track. This start, it is such an advantage. It's a necessity, really. You've got to get out there in the top 2 or 3. If you get stuck in the middle of the pack, it's lotto. You could go down.
Caton and Amaradio are 3 and 4 as Brown and Dowd battle it out. This is more like a track that Brown might have been used to in the GPs last year.
Absolutely. And I think it's good for both of these guys. Now you see them doubling right there. Neither one of them wanting to go for the triple. The face of that triple, very rutted.
And the pass made by Michael Brown of Honda of Troy.
Now the first lap here at Daytona is so different than the first lap anywhere else, because at a stadium you can go sit in the seats and pretty much look at the track, see the whole thing, and see what you're going to do when you go out there for your race. But here you're isolated from the track, and because the track takes up so much area, you really can't look at it. The first look you get is the first lap of the race, and you're going, whoa, that got deep, whoa, that bump wasn't there, and you're in for a few surprises.
Mike Brown out in front of John Dowd. Caton and Amaradio battling it out for third. And Waugh is right in the mix there, number 80, the French-Canadian. Waugh trying to make a move, really looking for some space. Look at Amaradio, number 34.
Working their way through that mogul section before they get to this long straightaway. And I looked at that mogul section last night, Art, and it's just messed up. There's not a good line through there. You just get through there how you have to. And the thing that I like about it versus just the whoop section, Roy making the pass.
Amaradio has tried to qualify for every main event, but he's only qualified for 2, getting that route through the LCQ.
Yeah, the You see these guys getting kicked all over the place. It's getting rougher and rougher, but the difference between the moguls really and the whoops are lined up straight across the racetrack. It's one bump, another, and depending how long the section is, basically they're straight across. The moguls are all over the place, so the back end really starts to kick around side to side.
Jean-Sebastian Waugh in third place as Amaradio tries to come up on his back rubber now. So it's pretty well defined. Brown, Dowd, Waugh, Amaradio, and Caton. 1:23.7 lap time.
It's pretty fast, considering 122s approaching 121 was the quickest lap in our heat races from the absolute favorites, the best riders out here. I was just thinking, Art, this track has pretty much seen it all. It's been through quite a bit. My dad used to dig holes out there and dig them pretty deep, and the water table is right there. So they'd start to get muddy in the bottom. It's rained. They've run backwards and forwards across the pavement. I've even ridden over telephone poles here.
Well, you've been around this track a long time, David. You also won, we might mention, the Daytona Supercross.
That was a good feeling, but it was even more exciting to turn around after I'd crossed the finish line and see O'Mara flying. He must have jumped 120 feet in a battle with Johnson to try to hold on to that second place spot. Anybody that remembers that, it was pretty exciting from my vantage point.
Marty's with Dean Baker. That's the mechanic of Michael Brown. Marty?
Yes, and your man ran a 1:22. I mean, that's as quick as the heat race.
That's what my team manager, Eric Kehoe, told me. Right now, we're trying something new, trying to get him to race his lap time so that he's not worrying about anyone else. The first heat race, we had some problems with him tightening up a little bit, so we're trying something new, and hopefully we keep running those lap times.
Well, I better let you get back to it because he's going to be coming by here pretty soon. He's going to be looking for that board, guys.
Look at two French Canadians up here in the top six. Jason Fredet and Jean-Sebastian Waugh. We take a look right now at Brown, though, our leader.
Something to do with the French. The French Canadians, they're really making a statement in Supercross.
They certainly have. We'll be right back to the finish. For the finish of our second semifinal round as we see him battling it out. Look at that. John Dowd and Michael Brown. Who will win this race? We'll find out when the checkers fly a little bit later. Michael Brown, number 100, raced in the GPs last year. John Dowd, number 9, battling it out 1 and 2 here in our second semifinal. Amaradio has moved into third.
Still going for the double right there at the far end. Face that jump, just gets rutted out so fast. It's too much of a risk to try to go for that triple, because as you gas it into the face of that jump, you compress the suspension even more, and when you sink into the rut, it drags all the speed off the bottom of your bike and risk a big nosedive.
Brown trying to hold on despite some flashes of potential. Has not done really well in his first year back in AMA Supercross. His best finish was an 8th at the Kingdome in Seattle. Of course, he had a crash in Houston that made the highlight reel when Pichon's bike came up and hit his helmet.
I talked to him about that before San Diego. I said, hey, we showed that from several angles. How did it feel from your vantage point? And he just almost didn't even remember it. He was like, oh, that was nothing.
John Dowd has taken over first place from Michael Brown. Back and forth we go. This is a good break for Dowd as far as the pressurized points race of the 125 West. He has a tendency to feel the pressure, David. But here in the 250s.
Dowd's got something hanging off the side of his bike there. I can't figure out what it is. Kind of spot. I don't know if that's affecting him right now. It appears not to be.
White flag, final lap.
This guy's having a hard time trying to jump that whole plateau now, because when you land, not only is there a corner right there, but the corner is just full of big bumps. So you land right in those if you jump the whole thing.
Number 9. People kid him because he's the oldest contender out there in the 125s by far. But John Dowd got started in his racing career later than most people and also went directly to 250s. And so Yamaha had that need to fill the 125 spot. Dowd had eligibility remaining. Dowd, Brown, Amaradio in third with Waugh in fourth, and Fredet in fifth with Caton in sixth. That's the top 6 that are destined for the transfer spot.
Dowd right there getting creative. I think that's maybe a boot buckle or something hanging off, and he had to square that corner back there and get a good run at the triple. Sat down to get more compression. Working through those moguls, he tried to take a line off to the side right there to work past the back marker and almost went off the track.
Dowd last week got a good start in 3rd place in the main event, but crashed to 14th and then ended up placing 11th.
Dowd is one of those guys you just never know when he's going to have a great ride. It could be anywhere. It can be in the mud. It can be in the sand. It can be when it's the hottest.
The Sand King, they call him, at Team Yamaha, takes the checkered flag. The winner of our 2nd semifinal round, and it looks like it'll be Dowd, Brown, Amaranio, Roy, Frenet, and Caton. So John Dowd taking the checkered flag here in our 2nd semifinal round at Daytona. Mike Brown, good battle between the two for a while. Amaranio, Sebastian Waugh, Frenet, and Caton. Moving on to the main event. Let's go down to Marty Reed, who's with Chad Dowdy.
Well, this is what you saw flapping in the breeze. It's the buckle. It didn't seem to slow John Dowd down. You like this track. You won the 125 last year.
Yeah, I usually like this place. Unfortunately, today I've been feeling a little bit tight. I haven't really felt like I've been up to speed so far, but I felt a little better in that qualifier there. I got myself going a little bit more smooth, I think, than I was before. So hopefully I can just relax some more and get going in the main. I think if I can relax, I can do good here.
We had you at a 123. That's competitive with the heat races.
Oh yeah, and the first heats, I don't know. I felt much better than I did in the heat. I was just real tight. I just didn't feel too aggressive and stuff. So hopefully I found a few little lines and a few things here and there that I could do different, and hopefully I can find some more in the main and just work on those and stay smooth out there.
Guys, one thing he doesn't have is a lot of stress from last year. Remember at this time his wife was getting ready to give birth. He doesn't have to worry about that this year.
Absolutely.
Well, sometimes that's kind of good, though. You get your mind off the race. Because
our next telecast comes up on ESPN2 from New Orleans at the Superdome, March 27th. That's a Friday, 7:30 p.m. That's in the East Coast, 4:30 out in Pacific time. When we return, we'll have the 4-lap LCQ results along with the 4th round of the 125 East Series. So the future superstars are coming up next.